Okay, let's get started today with attendance. Kirk.
Here.
Joseph.
He's sick.
My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl
who saw Joseph pass out at 31 Flavors last night.
I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Kirk. Welcome to the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, here we go, man. We are midway through August, man. It has been a blast so far. We had some Journey students last week. That was super fun, talking about cereal. Man, I've had so many conversations at the church now about cereal. In fact, at youth group, we had a big discussion about cereal, and we kind of ragged on Hunter loving Fruity Pebbles and everything. But it was a blast.
Wait. Hold up. Wait, you ragged on him about Fruity Pebbles.
We did because
that's one of the best cereals out there.
No, it's not. So we've already talked about that.
You guys are terrible hosts. That's
no, but man, it's been fun. It's been fun. We're in nostalgia August, man. It's been so cool. And Kirk, obviously, the people just saw, but behind you, man, we got some real nostalgia happening. What you got behind you right now?
Let's look at this. Let's look at this bad boy here. Kirk's high school.
Wow.
Yeah, freshman year was a rough situation.
You looked like you had a sinus infection in freshman year when they took pictures, apparently. And you were ready to get out in 96.
Senior year was also had a bad hair day right here.
Hey, man, I would die for a bad hair day nowadays. I don't have hair to have a bad hair day.
I have a bad beard day every once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then. But
I'm rocking my my high school graduation mug, dude. 1996.
So, Kirk, what is special about today? Why am I in a classroom? Why are we talking about your high school yearbook photos? What's this all about, man?
So yeah, I'm excited because we love movies, and we have usually in every one of our topics, if you will, whether it was football or baseball or we had a whole month of this. We like to kind of chat about movies, and we're in nostalgia month. We are blast to the past, back to school bash, and what better than to do a Rushmore on school age movies. So each one of us kind of have a little bit of a different criteria, but I'm just super excited because all of these movies basically are coming to age type films. They're all movies that kind of show the awkwardness of puberty and the craziness of just high school and ditching school and all the crazy things, fights and really amazing teachers. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to jump in and do a Rushmore of school movies. What do you guys?
Before we do that, we want to, as we do every week, we bring in a special guest, and we have a returning guest this week. We are welcoming in Joe Sadar. What's up, man? How are you doing? Welcome back to the Rushmore Show.
Welcome back. Welcome back. That's TV show. That's high school TV show. But
Joe, you were on our N64 episode
yes, sir.
A little while back, and that was a blast. So we wanted to have you back on here talking about movies. Hey, say hello to the Rushmore community. Tell them, what have you been up to? Because I know you've got a YouTube channel as well, your ministry and things that you do. What's anything awesome been going on with that lately?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, what up, Rushmore fam? Good to be with you all again. And yes, I have been doing my own YouTube thing and ministry out here in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I still work with the Dream Center, and we're still doing a lot of things there. And then my own YouTube, Joseph Sadar Ministry, where I'm pretty much just teaching and preaching and prophesying, all that good stuff. It's still been pretty good. Weeks have been hectic, but I'm still sharing the word and all that. So, but yeah, still doing the same thing as when you left me. Yep.
So,
and now I'm excited.
So basically, Joe, if somebody was to jump on your YouTube page, first off, go and share some love, like, subscribe. Matter of fact, we need to milk off of Joe a little bit. He's busting about almost 11,000 people now.
Come
This
on.
guy is an internet sensation. But go over there, love on his page. But Joe, if they go and show up at your page, what would they get?
Well, they would get a whole lot of teaching, preaching, and prophesying. So
yeah, so I love to watch. You're usually kind of in your car or whatever, like and kind of give us maybe 20, 30 minutes sometimes, not even sometimes that much. Basically a word that you feel is for somebody. And then I love that you always encourage them to kind of pray about it, because every word is not for them.
Right.
And then you kind of give, I love it. You kind of, today's message is titled boom.
Yeah.
That usually hits somebody right in the chest.
Yeah, it usually does, because I was, originally going to pastor in a church, but, COVID happened. That didn't really fall through. So, yeah, just all the words, like you said, that just feel are for people, whatever the Lord stirs up, that's what I speak about that week. And the same thing happens each week. Sometimes the Lord will have me speak about something this week, then he'll have me speak about something that week. So, yeah, it's just kind of a very Holy Spirit-led ministry. That's why it's mainly prophetic in that sense. So yeah, pretty much just like how any pastor would do on a Sunday service, whatever the Lord is telling them, whatever the Lord reveals in their Bible study, that's what they're speaking about. So that's pretty much how I run, that channel. So, but yeah, that's, it's growing.
Dude, I love reading in the comments. That's my favorite thing. I usually listen, and as I listen, there's already people that are way ahead. And I just love seeing the amount of people that are thanking you for just some life-changing words. You're doing a great thing, man. So look, all Rushmore fam, look, down in the comments, down in the description, as always, that's how we do it in YouTube. We send you down in the description. We're gonna we'll put all of the information to find Joe and his social medias and YouTube. Yeah, make sure you go and like and subscribe, not only our episodes but his. So check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joe, we're gonna talk about movies today. Are you a fan of movies? What you think about movies? What you think about cinema?
Absolutely. Well, if you live in the West and you don't like cinema, something is terribly wrong with you. So me personally, yes, I love movies. And it's one of those things where it's like when you can watch a movie and it can invoke emotion, in a good way, laughter, sadness or inspiration. I sound like I'm selling cinema right now, but no, I'm just saying it's just one of those great things that are tied to, all of our fondest memories, right? So, yeah, and with the movies today, a part of them absolutely were, they were a big part of nostalgia, obviously. This is a nostalgic episode, but, they really were a part of some really awesome memories. I love to laugh, so a lot of these movies were hilarious, and if a movie can make me laugh, that you won me. So there's going to be a lot of that, and there's going to be a lot of other great feelings that these movies have invoked out of me. So yeah, that's really the big thing, right? Just celebrating these movies and put them out there. So
this is going to be a blast. I am so excited. I don't want to delay any longer, fellas. I want to get into our Rushmore of school movies.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to get into our lists, our top 4 school movies. Kirk is going to get us started. Kirk, man, I don't know about you, but I've got so many honorable mentions for this specific topic. How did you narrow this down? What's your criteria? And then let us know. Let's get started with our Rosies.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go right out and tell you, Benjamins. I'm about 25 deep. Now, I'm not gonna share all of those because I'm sure some of you guys are gonna share those along the way, because I know you guys like all my Benjamins as well, and because there are just a ton of great school movies. But criteria-wise, so I thought about this pretty hard and was trying to figure out how can we make this a not just be crazy and just have all these things going on. So I thought one, I'm going to limit it for me to when I was a kid, right? So it's a nostalgia month. So I'm going from back in the younger days, right? A couple things that we always like to do with movies is quotability. That's a big one. And for me, it just so happens all of my movies are going to land in the high school age, but it's okay if anybody else wants to pick one outside of that. I even kind of told the guys that like there are some movies out there that are a different kind of school, not necessarily a high school or an educational like higher learning or whatever. But I think what I will say is there's some boarding school movies out there. There's some military school movies out there. There are even some like music and sports type films that are out there. So, that's another thing. I pretty much eliminated every single movie that the main focus was the sports.
Yeah.
Not because those movies. Look, we're sports guys here. Those movies would probably be our top 4, but we've already done a baseball episode movies, and we've already done a football movies episode, and I'm sure of it. There's a basketball movie episode coming in the future. So, or even hockey, because there are some really good ones there. So I'm going to eliminate all those if it's based on that. So that eliminates like, for me, Remember the Titans. That eliminates Varsity Blues, Friday Night Lights, even Karate Kid, if you will, because that's all sports movies. Yeah. So I'm going to eliminate those. So I'll just jump right in, and I'm going to go with, okay, so Joe, you made a great point. 3 out of my 4 movies are comedies. But when you think of school movies, there is a very distinct section of movies that are life lessons. There's a very hard, true life lesson that comes with some of these school movies. And I probably have about 6 or 7 movies I could have picked from that. Even it's a true story or it's in a rough area, rough background, like teacher goes in, saves the school type thing. And my Rosie is going to be one of those, and I'm going to pretty much eliminate all the rest, which is really crazy to me. So I'm going to go right off the bat with one of my favorite actors of all time, Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, I knew you were doing it. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Dead Poets Society.
Great.
I hate poetry, but this movie made me fall in love with just the idea of like, it's a boarding school basically. It's kind of a preparatory school, if you will, and it gives you that idea of like, I want to be at a preparatory school and sneak out and go into a cave and read poetry. Like, it's just weird, but there are so many great quotes from this movie. One of my favorites is the Carpe Diem, seize the day, because when I was in Iraq, it was really big and bold on our refrigerator from that movie. But of course, you got to go, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." Man, that whole scene, standing on the table. Yeah. But Robin Williams is just, he's on my Rushmore of movie actors.
Absolutely.
He's got to be there. He might even be the George. He's such an amazing guy. I remember when he died and he took his life tragically, and I literally cried. I don't know that I've cried very many times for someone that's famous for dying, but just, I had been saved at that point already. And the fact that he died from suicide, and you just always think about being successful as being in the limelight, and as a pastor and as a leader in the church, you're kind of like, oh, I just want to have influence, and he had influence, and it kind of took him down. But dude, made you laugh in everything, even in this. Yeah. This is about as a serious movie as he could have done, and I laugh all the time. He's so funny. He's just the gist of it is he's a teacher that goes against the grain to get everything out of his students. And it's just an amazing movie, Dead Poets Society. So there you go.
Wow.
There you go. Starting off the Rushmore with my Rosie, Dead Poets Society.
I love it, man. So when I'm doing my research and I'm looking at these lists of school movies, I came to that one and I said, it's on Kirk's list. I mean, there's no doubt to me. I
Yeah.
knew you had to have Robin Williams. So it was either that one or another one that I was thinking, but which I'm not eliminating from your list still, but I'm just saying Dead Poet Society, great pick. Oh, Captain, My Captain. I mean, it's one of the, when you look at the greatest movie quotes of all time, like that's going to make your top list in some kind of way. So good movie, man.
All right, man. Joe, you're a little younger. Have you seen this movie? Do you like this movie?
I will identify as somebody who is uncultured swine right now because I have not seen the movie nor heard
I mean, that's
of it.
not shocking. That's not shocking. You know, look, this is what I look like before you were born, right? And so I picked a movie that was before you were born.
Yeah.
You looked like a dead poet in 1993. That's your picture. You look like a dead poet.
Look at that hair, dude. Look at this hair.
Goodness.
I got 4 helmets on. Like, look, I don't have hair no more. Look at this. What happened? It's like my hair all went. But anyway.
Right.
All right, Joe, you're going to have to get better at this because I'm going to give you some homework and you're getting an F in school right now. So here we go. Andy, bring us to Rosie. Tell us your criteria. What were you thinking?
So you guys are saying, you know, the majority of yours are comedies. So I'm going to tell you right now, 4 out of 4 of mine are all.
I knew that.
Every one of them's a comedy, man.
Yeah, Andy.
It is what I look for in a movie. You hit the nail on the head, Joe. Like if I'm going to laugh in a movie, I enjoy dramas. I enjoy action. I enjoy those. But what am I gravitating towards? Give me the slapstick comedy. Give me the hilarious, just whatever. Yes. I love it. So all of my movies are that. And I didn't like think of that as a criteria. It just happened naturally. So I just know that that's just my genre, my go-to. But my criteria, much like you, Kirk, I eliminated sports movies because I'll tell you right now, if I put them in there, Remember the Titans is George. I mean, there's no doubt. To me, it was going to be kind of boring for us to do that because, like you said, I could pick.
We've already had that as George.
Sports, movies for, I didn't want to double dip there. So I just eliminated it, not because I don't like them, just to make this list a little bit more fresh. The other criteria for me is that I wanted to pick movies that spanned all of education, right? All of the years, not just high school movies. So what you'll see through my movies is that we're going to go all the way K-12 and beyond. So it's going to be a cool little trip down memory lane there. And then also lastly, it's nostalgia month, right? All 4 of these movies I have watched multiple times and love them. And it's just nostalgia. One of the best parts of movies, I've mentioned this before when we talk about movies, quotability is always going to be on my list of things. And every one of these movies I could quote for days because I watched them so many times. And it's just one of those movies that's near and dear to me. So all of that said, I don't know if that's really a criteria. That's just kind of my thought process when I was putting together my list. And we're going to go ahead and start with my Rosie. I'm coming in strong with Rosie, just like you did, Kirk. You came in strong. Dead Poet Society, for many people, is ranked really high. But my number 4, my Rosie, we're going to get it started with Jack Black's School of Rock. I love School of Rock, man. I remember distinctly renting this movie from Blockbuster. This was in that time that it came out, like early 2000s, probably. I'd have to fact check the year or whatever, but it's around that time. Jack Black, first of all, one of my favorite actors, hilarious. He is used him in clips for the Rushmore Show just time and time. But he is so hilarious. There are so many quotes in that movie. That whole, hey, you play cello.
Okay, this is a bass guitar, and it's the exact same thing, but instead of playing like this, you tip it on the side, cello, you've got a bass.
I say that all the time, and actually my wife played music, like was in orchestra, and she's like, actually, no, it's not, because the strings are different. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but the quote's still funny. It doesn't ruin the quote. Just because you're not in the band
doesn't mean you're not in the band.
So many cool quotes in that movie. Jack Black is hilarious. I love that he just takes something that he loves and he's got a passion for, music.
Yeah.
He gets he really like gets the best out of these kids by really kind of going against the grain, right? It's sort of similar to Dead Poet Society, except not nearly as dramatic and serious. It's a little bit more on the hilarious side. There are funny parts with Robin Williams, but all that to say, man, when they play their songs and everything, and those kids are just playing the keys, and he's like, another gut busting solo, and he's Jack. So the movie is the whole time just Jack Black being Jack Black, and it's so good. And I think like that's the only direction that they give him. Like, hey guys, so I want you, Jack Black, I want you to be you for however long we're filming this, and then just a masterpiece comes out of it. So School of Rock, My Rosie, all four of my movies could easily be my George because I love them so much. So this was a pleasure to be able to talk. It's like I feel like I get to talk about four Georges in a row and just love on these movies so much.
Yeah,
I can't find a flaw. I can't find any flaw in any of these movies. So School of Rock, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to just say I eliminated this one because I went all high school, and that's okay. That's okay. But this movie was on my list of one of the alternative type thinking. Yeah, it doesn't have to be necessarily. It is a middle school. It's like fourth graders, I believe, but it's not actually a School of Rock, which has birthed a School of Rock. I mean,
right, and that's another thing I was going to say. Yeah, this actually inspired that.
Yeah, and so that's really cool. But let me just say this. My favorite part about this was before watching this movie, I didn't know that he was in Tenacious D. I didn't know he was Tenacious D. I didn't know any of that. And when he was like playing, I was like, this dude is like really good and hilarious. They made him look like that. And then I realized, okay, these Tenacious D, et cetera, et cetera. But my favorite parts of this is when he's literally teaching the music. And he's like, and he's just like, and he's like, bring in the bass and bring on, and he's telling like, come on, bring that up. And like when they're playing the bah, 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 and then they're all just in it. And
chin chicka chin chicka chin chicka chin.
Dude, that freaking movie that movie's amazing. It actually made me black. It made me a Jack Black fan. I was going to say Black Jack fan, but and I like Black Jack too. Jack Black, Black Jack, whatever. But I love a lot of his movies. He's an amazing guy. You're totally right. This gives all his character. If you watch kind of some like uncut things of Jack Black, like his social media, he plays that character.
He's him. He's himself.
He's him. Like him on his TikTok or his Instagram or whatever. He's
check out his TikTok. He is
insane.
Guy. He is insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, great.
What about that one, Joe? Joe, so we're talking 2003. I just fact checked myself.
No, 2003. Now that is cream of the crop Jack Black. I have seen just bits and pieces of it, but it's like you were saying, Andy, it's like the one great thing about Jack Black is he sells, I mean, first of all, everything he's in just by being himself, completely animated, and it's like his energy is, bro, I mean, it's just contagious. So like watching him, especially in that movie, like it's just pure entertainment. Like he's a real entertainer, man. I will say, and all he has to do is just be himself. But yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. But yeah, phenomenal Jack Black movie.
I'm pretty sure that's an honorable mention for all of us. That's a great pick. That's Rosie for you.
Could have easily been George.
Man, you're coming in hot. You're starting in middle school, and man, I can't wait to see what's left. But hey, you said 2003. Now, at least Joe was alive for this one. Joe, you know that one. So I'm assuming most of you are going to be around that area. Joe, what is your criteria?
So
what is, what's your, where are you going with Rosie?
Yeah, so this was interesting because kind of like I mentioned before, I was just thinking about movies that, like as far as criteria wise, movies that memories that I made watching these movies with my family, and the ones specifically were ones that made me laugh. Because I don't know, there's nothing about having a gut busting laugh just with like your family. I don't know, like especially when it's like like, you know, your mom and your sister and all of y'all think the same thing is funny. That's a really special moment, right? It's usually parents have to sacrifice. So some of these movies, as far as nostalgia wise, I was able to get those laughs and those memories with my family. Then there's some also on the list that they are nostalgic. One movie in particular wasn't really funny, but it was just very impactful. So I guess I'm going with inspirational and also just hilarious, right? I mean, there's nothing like a kid gut busting laughing, man. So yeah, and there's nothing also like when a kid gets inspired by a movie. So yeah, that's it. So this, my Rosie, though, is very interesting because it came out 2017, right? So obviously I'm not that young when this movie came out. And it's going to really surprise a lot of people. I'm kind of going to cheat with this one. Nobody's going to expect it. But my Rosie for high school movies is no other than Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay. So here's the weird thing about this movie, right? They just wanted to get this side of Spider-Man and Peter Parker where he is like a baby, just, you know, high school Spider-Man. And really, honestly, in my opinion, they nailed it. I know this isn't a Marvel episode, this isn't a superhero one, but I do believe as far as high school movies go, a Spider-Man high school movie was kind of perfect. I mean, it was. They captured a decent amount of his superheroing, but also just Peter Parker just try to, you know, make it through high school. He was kind of the sort of the cool one in the movie, so he wasn't necessarily the underdog, but it was pretty funny too. And also it was a funny movie. It was, you know, I kind of leaned toward just kind of the 80s teen movie style. And fun fact too, in preparation for this, the actor Tom Holland, he actually went to the Bronx, a high school of science. And he was talking about how it was a genius school and how he wasn't a genius. So his main objective was to sit through classes and just to see what it was like being an American teenager in high school, because he was from Britain. And he pretty much said there was this girl that asked him what he was doing there. He was like, well, to be honest, I'm preparing for a role because I'm Spider-Man. She was like, you're crazy. You're lying. So she didn't believe it. But yeah, he talked about this on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. But yeah, so Spider-Man Homecoming, for that reason, decent high school movie, decent superhero movie, kind of like a 2-for-1 deal, you know. So that's pretty much my that's how I'm going to start this off. Not purely a high school movie, but still, that's one of the main niches of this Spider-Man. So yeah, that is my Rosie. That's how I'm going to come in hot right there.
I like it. So I like your thought process. You're thinking outside of the box. So I'm excited for where we're going to go from here. It's not a surprise. I'll just tell you.
So I saw that movie on several lists, and I just was like, okay, I see why they're thinking that, but it's probably on one of many Rushmores of movies. It could be the Rushmore of best movie of that year. It could be the you know, and actually pretty much any Spider-Man movie could go in this genre, I guess, because he is the teenager, the high school kid.
Yeah, I will say this. I know this isn't a hot take, but I really like him, honestly, as the high school Spider-Man. But honestly, as far as him like being Spider-Man, he's not one of my favorites. But that movie, I will take that as a high school, a great, phenomenal high school movie. But yeah, as I know this wasn't a hot take, but I will say that.
Nice, Rosie, man. Thinking outside of the box there, like where we're going here.
Just a little bit, you know.
So we're gonna move on now to old TJ Jazzy
Jeff.
Kirk. Where are we gonna go?
All right, so there is a specific 1980s director producer that made about 15 freaking high school films. I don't know how many. So I decided to only choose one of those, and I am going none other than The Breakfast Club. Oh man, yeah, Bull by the Horns. You know, my favorite is, does Barry Manilow know you raided his wardrobe? So this movie is awesome. 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink. Like Molly Ringwald was in every single 80s high school movie, as well as Cusack. And like that's like the instant pot to making an 1980s movie. This one had Emilio Estevez.
Emilio!
How many of you guys have said this? 2 hits, me hitting you, you hitting the floor. I mean, this is from the movie. I mean, I've said that all the time. And but this movie is fantastic. It is it's basically 5 totally different type of high school kids, which we can all relate to probably one of them. There's a jock, there's like the bad kid, there's the weird girl, there's the pretty girl, there's the nerdy guy, and they have they're all in Saturday morning suspension, and they end up becoming like best friends, and like there's some of the greatest scenes in all of cinema when they're all like marching when they fall through the roof. It's just a great movie. I could have picked any of them, honestly. I could have picked all the other ones are on my honorable mention, so I don't even have to mention them later. Those are all on my honorable mention, and I'm just going to go with my TJ Jazzy Jeff. It's going to be The Breakfast Club.
Club.
I love that movie. 1985.
One of the things that you've told me before, and you said probably on the Rushmore Show, one of the draws of movies, not so much now, but back then, soundtracks. The soundtrack to The Breakfast Club is elite. Don't You Forget About Me, like all of these songs that you just bring right back to The Breakfast Club. So great movie.
So I have to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking. I actually have 2 John Hughes movies on mine.
Oh, okay.
All right.
He's that good. I totally understand.
I have 2. I eliminated all the other ones, but I do have 2. I don't know why I said that, but 2 John Hughes movies. I got another one coming.
Good pick, man. Good pick. So when this movie came out in 1985, it was before I was born. So this was 4 years pre Andy. But hey, still a classic. I've seen it multiple times.
Sure, I'm sure your parents loved it.
Yeah, my parents. I'm sure my parents more so related to one of those characters than I do.
So, anyways, my TJ Jazzy Jeff. Obviously, there's so many good movies, but I'm going to pick The Breakfast Club. I think it's a staple of the '80s. And I can interchange it with a bunch of different ones.
Joe, I'm interested. Have you seen Breakfast Club? I know it's it's before my time, so.
I know, uncultured swine. That's me.
That's why we have that. Look, that's why we have guests, because
well, here's the thing.
The idea is to have a different opinion,
right? But here's the thing, though. Like, everybody tells me to watch that movie, and I still feel bad to this day because there was one opportunity I had to watch that movie, and I decided to watch a Marvel movie instead. So I know it's an awesome movie, but. And it's got the reputation.
And you know what? I literally haven't watched this movie. Actually, one of my biggest problems with this whole thing was a lot of the movies that I knew I wanted on this list, I haven't watched in quite some time.
Yeah, in a minute.
And I was trying to think of, gosh, what were some of the moments or some of the whatever? And the ones that I thought of first were kind of the ones I was going with. But I'm going to tell you, like, if you want to know what the 80s was like, this movie's perfect. It's got 5 distinct different types of kids from the 80s. It's hilarious.
Solid pick, Kirk. Good job, man. Love it. Breakfast Club, TJ.
All right.
Jeff.
All right, TJ Jazzy Jeff. Andy, I'm sure you're ready. You're on the edge of your seat to let us know your next pick, because I know it's just going to be hilarious. Another comedy.
All right, so this is one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, all 4 of these, like I said before, could be all George. We could replace this list. I could just copy and paste this. I might actually just take this footage and put it in if we ever just do a Rushmore of movies. So it's less work that I have to do, because these movies are fantastic. So much nostalgia, and this is no exception. We're going to go back to 1994, okay? 1994. So my first movie was kind of middle school, prep school kind of age. This movie, we're going all the way to college, baby. PCU is DJ Jazzy Jeff. Jeremy Piven, man, I love this movie so much. I've quoted it all the time. You know, like, you're wearing the shirt of the band you're going to see. Don't be that guy, right? Like
our concert episode. That was our thing.
We use that. We have what's the other ones like? You know, just
my favorite is when they're throwing the meat at the vegans.
Oh yeah. Man. There's a lot of quotes
I almost bet that Joe has not seen this movie, so you have to explain it to him.
Hey, look, uncultured swine over here, man. Let's go.
You've got to tell him what this movie is about.
It's a very niche movie. Okay, so it's this kid is going to tour this campus, this college campus, right? And he just kind of starts getting into these fraternities and these different like households and stuff, and kind of really seeing what college is like. And then Jeremy Piven, who's like literally when he's filming this movie, he's got to be like 40. I mean, like he doesn't even, or he looks that way. Like he's been at college. I think he's been at college for like 10 years.
I think he's in like year 20 or something.
Right. So he's he's like kind of takes this kid under his wing. Is like, hey man, this is what college really is. And then they get into all these kind of crazy shenanigans throughout the time. You know, David Spade's in the movie. Man,
yeah, I saw that.
and Gutter is a tool, right? Gutter is a tool. George Clinton in the Parliament Funkadelic. I love this movie, man. There's a lot of quotes that Jon Favreau plays Gutter in this movie. Now, here's the thing. Like I was saying, there's quotes that I can't say here on the YouTube channel. I'm not going to show it. So if you are of the age to go watch PCU, please do that. It is hilarious. Oh, what's the one? George Clinton in the Parliament Funkadelic. I thought you hated punk. Funk, man. Aren't you a music major? Like, gosh. Oh, that's so. When the hippies are like stapling the signs for the party to the trees, and they're like, "It's just too hard, man. I give up." And they just throw all their.
So Joe, here's the deal. PCU. PC stands for politically correct.
Right.
And so the university is all about these different like genre or groups of people, hippies and vegans and whatever. It's hilarious because this definitely wouldn't be a good movie to come out in 2022.
Oh,
it would offend everyone. It literally is an offense. It is like the opposite of politically correct. Yeah. And it is a hilarious movie.
Yeah. Well, the whole point they're also trying to kick out their house from this. There's like this, so it's a historic kind of campus, right? And they're trying to kick Jeremy Piven's group, who lives in this like historic fraternity house, right, out. Yeah. And they're saving it, and then there becomes like this battle, or this party that's thrown to try to bring support for it. And again, like I said, all these shenanigans happen throughout. And chips.
The best quote we can't say, but it's basically, do you know where the campus is?
Can you show me where the campus is? To which Gutter doesn't hear it correctly. You'll have to go find it, and it's hilarious.
And you show me where the campus is.
Show me where the campus is. Anyway, PCU, I could sit here and talk about it forever. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah. You know what's funny about PCU, Kirk, is that I quote it like, don't be that guy, right? Like using that phrase, don't be that guy, like really kind of came, I'm sure the words were said before, but it was made very known through that movie.
Yeah.
And I run into people every now and then who are like, PCU? And I'm like, it's like this weird, like underground, people don't talk about PCU, but some people.
PCU was one of those like cult type.
Oh, absolutely.
Movies.
Cult classic.
So movie. It didn't do well in the theater. Even if it did go to the theater, did it even go to the theater? I mean, like it probably didn't go well. Yeah, and you probably caught it the very first time you watched it. It was like at like 11 o'clock on an HBO, right? And you're like, what is this? it's one of those ones that, you know, mid 90s has a little, it's just a touch of too much for kids, right? But it's hilarious. It's a hilarious movie. It's all funny. I'm gonna say this. I only eliminated this along with several other college movies because it wasn't in the high school spot. I would put this one on the honorable mention because there are at least 2 or 3 more college movies that I can think of.
Right.
That would probably be on my list for sure. And I only eliminated and without talking about it because of this, because it is hilarious.
Yes. Nice.
I love people.
Yeah. I do recognize the "Don't Be That Guy" quote. That is something that has been circling around just, you know, pop culture, you know, it is.
So this was, the funny thing is with Jon Favreau, he's Gutter, and Gutter is like the dumbest, like highest, like the worst, like piece of garbage, like fifth wheel character. And Jon Favreau has now gone on to like change the world in movies. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's hilarious to watch kind of him in his early, he has like these like horrible dreads that are just terrible white man dreads.
Yeah. What are those? Awesome. What are those on your shirt? Snails? They're jockeys. Could have swore they were snails. Like just, gosh, I could just quote it all day. It's so, it's just little things like that are hilarious. So anyway, PCU, awesome. TJ, Jazzy Jeff, Kirk, I know you love that one. Joe, I recommend it. Go check it out. I don't know if it's your,
I don't know where you're going to find it.
Style, but yeah,
is it on Netflix or something? I don't know.
You could probably rent it on YouTube. Yeah, you could
maybe so.
Yeah, it's definitely a watch.
All right, Joe, let's get to your TJ Jazzy Jeff. Where are we going to go for next?
All right, my TJ Jazzy Jeff. So check this out. This is the only non-funny movie on my list, and it is a drama. It's a very, very it's a really awesome movie. This was the inspiring movie on my list, and I'm just gonna go ahead out and just say it. It comes from 2007, and it is the movie Freedom Riders.
Good.
Freedom Riders, man. I remember when I first watched this movie. First of all, I was gripped from start to finish. It's about this lady who pretty much fits in the category of the person who's trying to the one person who's trying to save, the school. Particularly, she was, tasked with schooling these troubled group of kids, right? Some of them were in gangs, some of them came from broken homes, some of them were, in danger and all that. And this teacher, it was based on a true story, actually, and she was trying against all odds to get these kids education and then materials and the tools they needed to be successful. And, it's like she was fighting against the school, and, she even had a really rocky start with the kids themselves. And in the movie, I don't know how true this is in real life, but, her marriage was, she pretty much costed her marriage. So it was just a really inspiring story, just seeing this lady just really care really unconditionally for this group of very troubled kids. It was a really inspiring movie. The soundtrack was pretty good too, and also this might take the conversation in a different route, but I couldn't tell if I had a crush on Hilary Swank or not at the time. I don't know when. I think that might have been why I liked the movie too. You remember the old that Office episode where they were trying to determine
who thinks that Hilary Swank is hot? Raise your hand. Okay, and who thinks that Hilary Swank is not hot? Raise your hand. 5 to 5. Thank you, accounting department.
I couldn't figure it out if I had a crush on her at that age.
I can tell you in 2007. If you couldn't tell you had a crush on her, you had a crush on her.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm leaning more toward I did. But it's kind of the whole thing. It was is she pretty or is she hot? I don't know. But anyway, that's politically incorrect to talk about now.
Talk about another show that would never make it in today's The Office wouldn't even make it. Yeah.
No, but overall, though, very solid movie. It was very inspirational. I loved it. I was just going to say that every time they played it in school, it was always a good day. I loved it from start to finish. Anyway, that's my TJ Jazzy Jeff, the inspirational Freedom Riders. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a great pick. This kind of reflects on the Dead Poet Society type movie.
Yeah.
It is one of those ones that I said was inspirational, teacher, mentor, leader. Joe, you haven't seen Dead Poet Society. If you like Freedom Writers, you'll love
I'm
Dead
gonna
Poet
love that one.
Society. But look, while we're on there, since I know all of the rest of ours are going to be funny, here you go. Look, Lean on Me. Bro, Lean on Me. If you haven't, don't sleep on this. Lean on Me.
Lean on Me.
Principal, The Substitute, Stand and Deliver, School Ties, Dangerous Minds, Toy Soldiers, and Rebel Without a Cause. Bro, all of those movies are very serious, very point. And if you like Freedom Writers or anybody out there likes Poet Society, you've got to check out the rest of these movies. These movies are amazing. And honestly, they kind of molded and shaped the time frame. Freedom Writers is an excellent take, and she basically goes in and does the unthinkable with kids that they said can't learn. And basically, these kids they're writing like novels and stuff. What an amazing movie! What an amazing concept! I love those kind of movies. Usually these type of movies, I'm crying at the end, crying. So. Great pick.
Solid pick. 2007, my graduation year. If we're talking about
let's go.
There you go.
Good stuff.
Halfway through the mountain, Kirk. Here we go. Going on to Link. I know that it's going to get good. I mean, not that it hasn't been good, but I know that it's just even getting better. What movie are you going to pick for your Link?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with it. Bueller. Yeah, man. I am going with none other than Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Nice.
This movie could have been my George. It could have been at the top. I mean, my favorite thing is when they're doing the Bueller topic, and it's like my best friend's sisters, boyfriends, brothers, whose girlfriends, whatever. It's all parents pass out at 31 flavors.
Yeah,
like, it must be serious. Well, I mean, just a great movie. So many quotes. And if you have watched the Rushmore Show at any time, you've seen it. Hey, bada, swing, bada. Kennedy. I mean, we've talked about it over and over. So many different things. Like life moves pretty fast, right? That whole quote that probably is the 80s quote of the year to me. Like it succumbs all of what Ferris is doing. It's a great, funny movie. I always. So for anybody out there in I don't know, if you're uncultured swine on this one, Joe, you have, I don't know, but I'm just going to go, and I'm going to say this. I always wanted to rig my room up so that I had the sleeping dummy when the door opened and closed so that I could, sneak out. But I was never, first off, even if I could do it right, I would never have had the gumption to do that. But I was never as cool as Ferris. This is why I like Ferris so much. Ferris really isn't the cool kid. If you really pay attention to the movie, he's really not the cool kid. But in his world, there is no cooler kid. There is no cooler. Like he's singing on the parade, and gosh, I wanted to be Ferris. And honestly, I always thought that name was kind of cool because I never knew anybody that was named Ferris except for the band. So saving Ferris. But anyways, this was my other John Hughes movie, and I have to throw it out there. Number 2, my link. Probably going to be a lot of Georges, in my opinion. If I don't know. It could have been my George. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah.
Well, look, let's not waste any time because we got a Crushmore right here. And for my link, I'm going Ferris Bueller's Day Off too. I was going to talk about it. I was going to piggyback on what you said, but let's do it this way. It is on the list. In fact, it changed from my George to my link about 15 minutes ago. That's how tight all of these movies are. And probably in 15 minutes, actually, when I'm done talking about this, I might bump it back up to my George. It's so good. It's such a good movie. Abe Froman,
the Sausage King of Chicago.
man, it's so quotable. It's the movie that checks every box when it comes to those things. You know, the Kennedy swing batter, the I'll go, like that whole thing.
I love the principal, right?
Yeah.
And his like mission to freaking stop Ferris. And every time I think of him, I cannot think of that guy without thinking about him in Howard the Duck and thinking about him in what is it, Mom and Dad Save the World? Yeah. But him chasing that running scene where he's like jumping over cars and riding the bike and all that.
One of the most classic scenes from 80s film is when Ferris is rushing to get back to his house and he's jumping over all the fences into the pool. He stops and
the music that's going on.
He's talking to the girl, like he turns back around and talks to the girl for a second. I love whenever he's like figuring out how he's gonna ditch and everything, how he's gonna leave and kind of, you know, skip out of school. He's got his keyboard program to have like the barf noise. And
Wait, so we've talked about this before also, Andy. We've also talked about this before. Narration in a film, but there's really not really narration in this film. He breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And he breaks the fourth wall and he narrates this movie for us.
Right.
Like the whole beginning when he's in the shower, it's something that people just didn't do. Like that was just thinking out of the box for John Hughes. And, you know, God rest his soul, John Hughes died, I think, in like 2010 or something. But almost like I would watch the whole library of John Hughes over and over again. This, to me, though, is on the Rushmore of John Hughes movies. So easy. I mean, he's done all the Vacations. Yeah. He's done Home Alones. He's done Beethoven's. He's done a lot. He's one of the greats, definitely. And this is one of his shining works, in my opinion. So time out. I heard just briefly Joe saying the music. So Joe's seen this movie.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Let's go.
Well, here's the thing. We were actually going to have another Crushmore.
No way.
Except I had to not put it on my list only because I only seen it once, but it really was honestly an awesome movie. And I did want to be faithful to my criteria, like movies that I was actually attached to. That
I feel you.
Once, but
because this was from 1986.
Yeah, but no. It was a great movie. It's funny. I actually watched it for the first time, I think, just a couple of years ago, and I really was dying laughing like multiple times throughout the movie. The fourth wall breaks, the plot to get himself out of school. Like you said, the teacher that was just helping.
Dude, the driving of the car, and when he drove it, and Cameron's like in a comatose state, falling in the pool.
Yeah.
Dude,
one of my favorite quotes from the movie is the secretary for the school.
Dude, she's amazing.
When the principal says, "That Ferris Bueller, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him," and then she said,
"Well, with your bad knee, Ed, you shouldn't throw anybody."
Dude, she is so good. That was one of the quotes I was thinking about using.
That Ferris Bueller is one cool dude.
Yeah. It's really funny because not that anybody needs to be watching this show, but Family Guy kind of did a reenactment of Ferris, on his way trying to run back to school, the whole slow motion run montage. Yeah, it was great. That was one of the more notable famous scenes.
One of my favorite scenes, and this is what's so funny about like movies. Like you're sitting there like, yeah, that wouldn't happen at my school. Like his girlfriend's dad checks her out. Oh yeah. But instead of checking her out, it's over the phone. Just meet us out in the freaking parking lot, and he all dresses up and whatever, and it like looking like a dad, and he just waves. He just and when she gets up there, they like make out, and the principal's like,
"That's how they do it in that family."
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Oh, great movie. Great movie.
Great movie.
Rushmore.
All right, so
We both
Link,
liked
and
it.
we Crushmore, Link. So, all right, our first Crushmore. I thought we were going to have more than this, but we still got a little time. We got a little time.
A little bit of time.
Joe, where are you going with your Link?
This Link, it was honestly, I didn't want to put this one on my list, but I had to be faithful, man. I had to be faithful exactly to the movie.
Don't do it.
As a kid, I had to. Wouldn't recommend this movie today, the man I am now, but it was absolutely kind of a staple growing up, I guess. And
he's going to do it.
You might have guessed, I don't know, but it is definitely Mean Girls. That is it. You didn't realize.
We're pink on Wednesdays?
No. You want to talk about quotability? It was a hilarious movie. That was actually one of the movies where there were some inappropriate scenes in there, but the comedy that was in the movie was gold. My whole family was laughing. There was a little bit of slapstick in there too, like when Regina George gets hit by the bus out of nowhere, and then when they're performing on stage their song, and then the boombox messes up, and Gretchen tries to fix it, but ends up kicking the boombox in like some guy's face in the audience. Like, it just had really special moments that I just thought really were hilarious. So yeah, the whole cast was
girls.
Great. It was It was a cultural phenomenon. Honestly, the whole movie is a staple in pop culture, obviously, but yeah, and it was a movie that I actually watched a lot, just growing up. So yeah, that was
all right. So I'm gonna just tell you, there were 4 movies that were almost on every single high school or school list. 4 of them, they were across the board, and, that I would never pick ever. Ever. And Mean Girls was one of them. and all of them are in about that same world, actually. And one of them's a musical, and I was like, no, I'm not picking these 4 movies. Why do you keep putting them in my face? Right. Mean Girls was a little after my time. My kids watched it, and there are some appropriate things like, what are we watching this for? Right. So I mean, McKenna, I'm sure, enjoyed Mean Girls quite plenty. I just remember it being a bunch of hot, stuck-up girls being dramatic and witchy to each other. And that word.
Yes, they did.
Here we go. You guys ready for this? Confession time.
Never seen it.
Uncultured swine over
here.
I have not, Andy. But here's the thing. It's now on principle. It's now like I don't want to watch it. Because I feel like I'm supposed to have seen it. And people quote, and the reason I use that one quote is even for somebody who hasn't seen it, you always hear the quote, we wear pink on Wednesdays or whatever, like whatever that. Like, but that's, other than that, that's all I know about the movie. I couldn't tell you what the reference is to. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I just decided I'm going to be the last man standing who's never seen this movie. So look
and do it. Don't watch the movie today. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it today.
I thought you were going to go with a different movie when you were saying this, because
I thought he was going with what
I my honorable mentions.
Look, I'm going to tell you, I thought he was going with what I think is your George.
Okay.
Really? Okay. Here we go.
This one,
because to what he said. Yep. I was like, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Because he's already going to do it. I know you're going to do it. I just know it. I
might surprise you. You. Who knows? We'll see.
Okay.
Good.
Well,
I guess
it's my turn, right? It's my turn. It's George. I can tell you, none of y'all are going to pick this one. Not because it's not a great movie, because it's fantastic. But you probably didn't think of it as a school movie, but it's definitely a school movie. 1985, which is a big thing in this movie. Back to the Future.
Good one.
Back to the Future.
I could see it.
So
I could see it.
Back to the Future. All 4 of them almost made it on my. I say all 4 of them. The series almost made it in my trilogy list. It was in my honorable mentions. And mainly because the first 1 and 2 were just really phenomenal movies. I liked 1 so much 2 was just a cool concept. And then when they went to the West, it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't a good one to the other 2. And then it just kind of got worse going down the road. But I love this movie. This movie is brilliant. It is brilliant. It's done great. It plays on all of the it plays on all of the time travel tropes, if you will.
Right.
And like, you can't see your person or it's going to screw you up. You know, like nobody's ever time traveled, at least we don't think. But all of us somehow think that if we ran into our younger self, like it's going to change the world. And so he does that, but he runs into his mom, right? But she's younger and she's like a kid, and he falls in love with her, or she falls in love with him. I'm sorry.
She falls in love with him. Yeah.
She falls in love with him. And just a great movie. So he's like trying to navigate the world 30 years prior, which is funny. This movie happened in 1985. It's talking about going back to 1955. And if you think about it, that would be if we did a Back to the Future now and we went back to my high school. That's how crazy, like, even the mentality is. Like, you don't think 30 years is that much until you've gone 30 years. And you're like, wow, that would be my high school, like going back to 1996, right? So 31 years or whatever, 30 years back. And so anyways, great movie, great concept, quotability, like Biff, you know, like a tree and get out of here.
I was about to say that.
Oh, were you about to say that? And
make like a tree.
He's like playing Johnny Be Good, right? He's playing Johnny Be Good, and he's just like riffing, and they're all like, "What the heck is going on?" He's like
that. But
I guess you guys aren't ready for this, but your kids
will be.
Yeah, but just a great movie. I love the professor, or Doc Brown. I love that character. That character's really cool. And what's really cool is there are some really awesome fan theories about this movie.
Right.
About Doc Brown actually being the Michael J. Fox's character, and all these different things going back. It's just I like time travel movies. But this is a great movie. I probably watched this movie along with Karate Kid and a few of those other movies that were out there, probably every single day for like 7 months. Like, these were the movies. Like,
Kirk.
And you're just going to play it over and over and over.
One thing I like about this movie too, like, there's a lot of, I don't know if you want to call them Easter eggs in the movie, but just a lot of like small details that you don't really notice until either A, you watch it a bunch of times, or B, you are on the internet and you're like, oh my gosh, I never noticed that. Somebody found it and they put together an article. But like the one thing, like with the Twin Pines Mall, and like how they hit the trees gone, and then it's later called Lone Pine Mall. Just really, like,
so smart.
They thought through every detail of it. Another funny thing is, it's like, I feel like every other week I get a screenshot of like the date when they would travel back to, and they're like, they're traveling back to now. I'm like, what's the real one that they put on there? Because I feel like I get one all the time.
I gotta go and watch that movie, because I feel like we get that. Like, I thought that was last
like 2021 or something. I don't know, whatever. But
one of my favorite parts is, in being a Star Wars fan, is when he shows up in that, getting out of that car, and he's in 1955. He's wearing the crazy suit. He comes out and he's like, "My name's Darth Vader," and he like gives the Spock sign and all that crazy. Like, it's just a funny, well thought out, brilliant movie.
Yeah,
and it's 1955 high school, but he's really a kid from here. And it's Back to the Future, one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm going with that for my George McFly. I'm gonna go with it.
Nice.
Awesome. McFly.
Okay.
McFly. You know what? What's also really cool about that movie is the principal in McFly's kind of relationship, and how when they go back and forth, and how he kind of talk. And then you have the janitor who becomes the principal later.
Yeah. I do remember that.
They really did think that movie out really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Solid pick.
All right, so there's my George. That's my mountain, man. Where are you going?
Okay, here we go, George.
See if it's what I'm guessing.
George, I'm gonna hit you with a little tune. Okay, you ready for the song? Back to school, back to school to
Yes.
prove to Dad that I'm not a fool. So I've got to go with Billy Madison is my George. It is the
Hey, that's a
greatest
good pick, man.
one of all time. This movie spans every grade level. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Pause this episode now. I don't even care if it affects our time. Go find it, watch it, and then resume watching. No, it is so good. He basically is the son of this multimillionaire, and this guy is losing it. You know, he's old, whatever. He's basically going to lose his company. It's over, right? Everything, and it's between Billy, you know, the heir to the company, or the guys like next in line or whatever. And
Right.
they make this deal of Billy, in order to take over the company, has got to go through school because he never finished school. So he literally has to spend like a week or two or whatever it is at every grade level. And you get to see Billy in kindergarten making macaroni necklaces. And I colored the duck purple because I've never seen a duck that was purple before. And quite honestly, I'd like to see one. Like, it's just so many cool. Let me tell you.
I love in the beginning when he's chasing the penguin and all.
It's too hot for a penguin to be out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie, funny story here. I'll take you back. We're talking nostalgia. One of my favorite high school nostalgia moments was intentionally giving my computer a virus at home by downloading music. And we would download, you know, LimeWire or Napster or any of those things.
LimeWire.
And I used to make mix CDs, you know, with Slipknot and Metallica and just whatever I wanted to put on it. But I had this one, and I literally just downloaded quotes from Billy Madison. It was 30 tracks. I'm not even kidding you. It was like 30 tracks on a CD, and it started out with, shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair.
Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth.
That was the first quote, right? And then it goes into the whole like, and nowhere in your incoherent rambling was there anything that could be stretched as the truth. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but
Yeah, and then every
Bus
other
driver.
the bus driver, Chris Farley making these little cameos, you know, like no talking on the bus, like just gosh, she's so good. Veronica Vaughn. I mean, come on, like,
okay, pause. I don't know if I liked her or if I.
No, I know, Kirk, you liked Veronica Vaughn.
Good job.
Listen.
Yes.
We could spend an hour and a half. It's an episode's length just giving quotes from that. Pee in your pants is cool. Consider me Miles Davis.
Oh, that was the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life. Let's go.
Gosh, oh my goodness, I love this.
So look, we talked about criteria before we started, and you had mentioned that you had picked a few different ones. And you said, I've got one movie that goes from the beginning to the end, and it's pretty much the only movie I could possibly think of.
I knew you would know it, yeah.
Number one. And two, it's on my honorable mentions, and the only reason it's not in my top four is because my criteria. Right. This movie is amazing. It is all this is the movie I thought, Joe, you were going to say. You were going to come out with it and do it again, so y'all would both have it. But this movie's great. Adam Sandler's great. This probably put Adam Sandler on the map. I'm not sure what the order is between this and Happy Gilmore and Waterboy and all of those.
Yeah.
I don't know the order of all those 3 or 4 or 5 movies that were right there. But this made Adam Sandler a lot of
household name at this point.
It made him a lot of money. It made him a lot of money. So just an amazing movie, quotable.
Yeah, and okay, so I said it right. Jack Black's one of my favorite of all times. Adam Sandler is absolutely on my Rushmore of actors of all time. The funny thing, just like this school movie one didn't have to be all comedy. It just wound up being that way. My top 4 actors are probably all comedic actors, and it's just because of what I love, the movie that I go to, the quotability, just everything about it. It's hilarious. It's a movie that, again, 1995. So we're talking, gosh, this is almost what?
My junior year. Look, right here.
Yeah, there you go. 1995. This was Kirk. That was Kirk during
Back to school. Back to school.
But yeah, like Norm Macdonald's in the movie.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
Norm.
peace.
Chris
super
Farley,
underrated
rest
actor.
in
Chris
peace.
Farley's in this movie.
Yeah.
God, please go watch it. Please go watch it. So good. I don't know what else I can say about it. I can give you so many more quotes, but obviously,
So the whole Happy Madison cast, like all those guys that came from like Saturday Night Live and that friend group of guys, they're just they just put out the same types of films over and over again. They have a great formula, and they're fun. And some people don't like them because of that. But to me, you're just jealous. They're freaking hilarious. They're funny. And it's a great movie. Good pick.
Yeah. So when I'm thinking of my movies, this was one that was immediately on there. I just said it was my link a minute ago, 20 minutes ago, whatever it was. But honestly, all of them can be that. But I think if I'm going to go off of quotability, obviously I had a CD full of the quotes of this movie. So
I forgot to tell you this. Well, you're talking about quotes and you're talking about downloading quotes from like LimeWire. I just would want to share this. I remember back when like Stone Age of computers, I guess, like when they all first started coming out around 1995, we used to download the quotes and you would change the sounds of your computer. So like when you clicked on something, it would go back to school, back to school. Do you remember this? Like you changed everything that you clicked on, where like if you're exiting or you're throwing the trash away, you'd be like, bleh, 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 like Ferris. Dude, yeah, I love that. We downloaded quotes. But anyways.
Joe's looking at us like, what happened? What,
Yeah, I don't think that happens too much often, but yeah, back in the day on the original Microsoft Word or whatever computer, back when they were Pentium 1s or whatever.
And also, here, the last thing I want to say about Billy Madison, it was the start of, and if maybe you've seen this in a couple of Adam Sandler movies, there's this running trend of O'Doyle. The O'Doyle family. O'Doyle rules. Like, O'Doyle, I have a feeling your family's going down in a fiery crash soon, but for right now, I got to study. Like, the O'Doyle rules, that started that. Again, another quote, right? So, I love it. Billy Madison, my George, my number one.
Great pick on Billy Madison. Billy Madison.
Yes.
Yeah, you like that movie, huh, Joe? You've seen this one?
I do. I have seen that movie on a few occasions. I do love that one.
Awesome. So speaking of Joe, it's your turn, man. It's time to finish this mountain range, and let's see where you go. Do you have a Bring It On in there? Do you have like a High School the Musical, like Mean Girls with your last pick?
Oh man, guys, we are on the George. We are about to finish this mountain, and yes, you will not believe what I have as my George. All right, guys, I'm going no other than High School Musical 3.
What?
3?
You did it! You did it! You did it! You did it!
I am lying.
You're lying. Oh, wow. Okay.
Just went crazy. No, guys, here it is. My George.
It's High School the Musical 2.
It is actually Napoleon Dynamite.
Nice! Yes!
That is my George. So,
are you lying, or are you actually telling the truth on this one?
No. I am telling the truth. I am telling the truth. Napoleon Dynamite is one of those silly comedies. It's absolutely hilarious. Not everybody enjoys that humor, but I definitely do. I'm a big fan of that silly humor, slapstick comedy, all that. Napoleon Dynamite, if you haven't seen it, all about these awkward teenagers just trying to fit in. They try to one of them tries to run for class president. They get into a whole bunch of misadventures. They're just silly. They're so awkward. The main character, Napoleon, he's just this, nasally teenager. Gosh, he's just hilarious. Asking people, could you bring my chapstick? It's also another quotable movie.
Yes.
I think one of my favorite, it's a very short scene, but one of my favorite scenes was when him and his Uncle Rico were fighting. I think he's like throwing, he threw something that looked like a grapefruit at his car. So he's like throwing this fruit that just splashes on his car. And then Uncle gets out to try to tackle him. Like the whole movie is really just hilarious. Great cast. It's just a wacky movie, man. I love it. I feel like it was one of those movies it was kind of a cult classic, but then it sort of crept into the mainstream a little bit. You know, it became a little bit more mainstream for a little bit. But yeah, absolutely, just a funny movie all around. That is definitely my George of school movies. And
I would not have picked it for Joe. I would have picked it on your list, Andy. I would not have picked it.
It almost did. It almost did. It's an honorable mention.
You surprised me. You surprised me, Joe.
Yeah.
But look, this put John Hader on the map, and he ended up kind of doing some other stuff after that.
Benchwarmers.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Benchwarmers almost made the baseball movies for both of us, so we talked about it. I kind of am that guy that don't like this movie. But hear me out. The very first time I watched it, I was like, "This is terrible."
Yeah,
terrible. But because of the like the excitement from everyone about this movie and the quotability and all that, everybody's like, "This movie's so great." So back then, I used to purchase movies before I watched them. So I still think I own this movie, and I've watched it a couple times since. And it ages a lot better than that very first time I watched it. I was just like, I guess I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And it's kind of a weird kind of comedy. And it is really funny. I mean, the best part about this movie, by far, in my opinion, is the talent show when he's dancing.
Right.
And he's doing all that. That right there is gold. I mean, he's like in the astronaut boots and everything. And throwing the football. That's a great one.
One of my favorite. So, Kirk, just like you, surprisingly, I hated this movie the first time I watched it.
Yeah. It's one of those
I didn't finish it, but I think there's something about that. Like, because it's you didn't get it. Like, I was like, what are they trying to do? Mm-hmm. What is this? But the second time I watched it, I died laughing. I don't know what changed between the two. Hilarious. One of my favorite lines from the movie is he's he's talking. It's towards the beginning. Your mom goes to college. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's just like, Tina, eat, you fat lard. Like, he has a llama that he feeds or something. Yeah. Like, what? And then he's drawing
the liger.
A liger.
Liger.
We learned everybody on Earth learned what a liger is.
That movie did it.
And talons and it's so good. It's so good. It's a movie that shouldn't have been as good as it was. And I don't know if they thought it would actually do what it has done, but it has become cult classic. It has become a great movie. It was on my honorable mentions. So it was almost up there. I love it. Great, solid pick. Just like Kirk, I did not expect, Joe, for you to go Napoleon Dynamite, especially coming off of Mean Girls. I thought we were gonna. I thought we were
okay.
Real
So Mean Girls, Mean Girls, freaking Grease, High School the Musical, 1, 2, and a zillion, whatever it was.
Yeah,
and Bring It On. Like, I'm like, this is the more of high school movies, in my opinion. So, I just don't fit that genre, folks. First off, I hate musicals. Jeez, gosh, I hate musicals. I think we made 3 fantastic mountains.
Yes.
I mean, they definitely fit our opinions very well. They fit who we are. Learned a lot about you today, Joe. But I'm going to throw out some honorable mentions. Basically, all of y'all's movies except Mean Girls is on my honorable mention, so I'm not going to name any of those. The ones that were going to make my mountain, I'm going to say last because, they almost made my mountain. But here's some. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Bro, I loved that movie as a kid. Risky Business. Say Anything and Better Off Dead, John Cusack. Classic. Okay. Yeah. House Party. This movie is not appropriate.
You did not say House Party.
This movie is not appropriate, but I watched this movie. Follow the Drip. I love that freaking movie.
Oh my gosh.
Dazed and Confused. Again, not really an appropriate movie, but Summer School, not an appropriate movie. Super Bad, probably not an appropriate movie.
Pause. So I thought he was gonna say Super Bad instead. I thought that's where he was going. I loved it, dude. I loved Super Bad.
Super Bad is close.
I was like, I can't put this on my list. I'm a pastor. Right. I have credentials with the Assemblies of God. I am a worried.
All right, three more.
That's how I felt about Mean Girls. I was like,
Jonah Hill is fantastic. I love Jonah Hill.
So I got three more. Right? These are the ones that were fighting for number 5. Number 4. These are like my 5th, 6th, and 7th. And honestly, the only reason Fast Times didn't make it is because of my credentials. Because of my credentials. Yeah. So yeah, Spicoli. American Pie didn't make it because of my credentials. And last but not least, probably one that's not on anybody's mountain, and it's a shame. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes, good one.
Just an amazing movie. Hey, but look, I'm going to also throw this out there to you because you did a college movie. I was so shocked. I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
So shocked that you didn't put my other movie that I hated the first time I watched. The very first time I watched this movie, along with Napoleon Dynamite, I was like, this is the dumbest movie in the history of movies. And it is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, Old School.
You're my boy, Blue.
Because you were doing colleges, I knew that was going to be on your, and I was wrong.
That's another one that's a little bit on the inappropriate side. So I did Frank the Tank, man. I didn't want to go with that one, but Will Ferrell. I've pretty much unveiled my Rushmore.
It's kind of PCU-ish.
I guess so. Here's one you didn't mention. So you listed off all of my honorable mentions, and then if we're talking about the ones that we already said, but this doesn't go to your criteria, but I was so freaking close to putting on Kindergarten Cop. Almost made my list.
I didn't even think about that one because of the criteria. I didn't even think that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Dude,
also, really is. Correct.
Some really, really off the wall quotes right there
that we can't say.
Which you tried to say in a previous film.
Well, we could say, who is your daddy and what does he do? Like, we can do that one. Like, we can do that. But that's about it. The other one, so this may not count, and maybe, it's very small reference, but anytime I could try to get a Die Hard movie in there, I'll try to do it. But Die Hard with a Vengeance with Samuel L. Jackson, they're actually in the public schools where the bombs are planted. So is it a school movie?
Oh.
Is it not?
Well, I was thinking we do like Transporter because he's picking up a child.
Right. So what class? Harry Potter. What about all the Harry Potter movies?
That's the one I was going to say. Look, when I was trying to figure out the back, I was going to say, hey guys, what if I put Hogwarts behind me?
Yeah, Hogwarts. Because the school. It's a different school.
It's a different school. School of Wizardry.
What about X-Men? What about X-Men? The School for Gifted.
X-Men will show up on another episode a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
So. Because we're doing toys and cartoons. Somebody's saying X-Men, I promise.
Solid lists. Love it. So, Joe, thanks for being on today. But look, we are going to stick around. We're going to keep this whole theme of school going on. And we've actually got a little bonus rapid fire kind of Rushmore segment that we're going to run your way. We are going to talk one of the highlights, man, of being in high school. Let's go back to high school. Maybe a highlight for some, maybe a low light for others is that lovely, glorious prison tray of food at lunch, man.
I made them extra sloppy for you.
So let's talk. We're going to do a very quick bonus Rushmore of our cafeteria lunch items. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, it's lunchtime. It is lunchtime. Let's go ahead. Bonus Rushmore of our cafeteria lunch items. Kirk, give us your Rosie all the way through your George.
Bonus time. No, we're not going to sit here too long, but I'm going to just go out and say lunch was probably one of my favorite times in high school. It was a time that you socialized, that you were able to get away from class. You went out into the break room. You were like, this is where you had your first you asked your girl on the first date, or I remember watching a kid get stabbed in the hand by a fork. like high school was crazy. We had a music box, and I remember everybody kind of fought to get there first and put in the song that they wanted. And I remember like distinctly that the main favorite song at our school at that time was Crisscross, Make You Want to Jump. But I remember listening to that at lunch all the time. But look, enough of that. Like lunch was it. That everybody loves lunch. You had A lunch, B lunch, C lunch, D lunch, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to just go out here and I'm going to give you my 4. My first one isn't really a lunch. It's breakfast, man. Our breakfast pizza at our school was insane. So that's going to be my Rosie. Breakfast pizza was insane. That crust was just so good. I loved it. It had a little egg, little sausage, little something on there.
Yeah.
That thing was good. I always wanted to skip breakfast at home and try and get there, but I never got there on time because I was always late to school. So I missed it pretty often, which probably made me like it more. My TJ Jazzy Jeff, while I'm sitting on pizza, there were 2 kinds of pizzas at our school. We had a pizza line that you got like a freaking Red Baron pizza, and it was made just perfect. It was crust. The crust was all crispy and like
nice,
good. You just love that. Like you were like trading off like homework for somebody else's pizza. I mean, like it was just so good. And then but sometimes they'd give you the special pizza in the other line, and that thing was like cut in like weird rhombuses and parallelograms. Like I don't even know who cut this thing. It's not even real shaped. Dude, don't sleep on the chocolate milk for Link, man. Chocolate milk.
Yeah.
It looked like a bag of, you know, I don't even know, a bag of brown, but yeah, it was funny. You pop that thing in and like in 2 seconds, gone.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was always people that didn't like the milk. So you got other milks. That's always good because like there was that guy or girl that didn't like the milk. But my favorite, and I know this is going to be a shocker to everybody because most people don't like this. And if you do like it, you don't understand. I fell in love with this at high school lunch, and that is the shepherd's pie.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Nice,
Let's go. Nice. Shepherd's pie. That's the ground beef, the mashed potatoes, and the cheese. And if I could make it just like my high school made it, I'd be in heaven. But we make shepherd's pie often at the house. Yeah, I love this stuff. It's like cheap. Like it's the reason high school does it is because it's so cheap to make. It's like you can make 700 pounds of it and feed everybody on like $10. But it is the best. And they probably used flake mashed potatoes, obviously, and sliced cheese. But it was perfect. So as a high school kid, so boom, breakfast pizza, the 2 kinds of pizza, kind of jumping in there. Chocolate milk and shepherd's pie is my mountain of lunch.
Okay. I don't think I've had a bad shepherd's pie. It would be hard to displease me with shepherd's pie. So I really love that pick for sure.
I also don't think I've had a phenomenal shepherd's pie. I think it is the picture of mediocrity. Is what shepherd's pie is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't eat shepherd's pie.
Look at this kid right here. This kid likes shepherd's pie. This kid right here likes shepherd's pie.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that gets a pass, though. I don't know what it is about shepherd's pie. Like I said, I think it works. Just what it is, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's special, man. I love it.
I love it. All right, Andy. Andy, what's your lunch?
We're going to lunch. What I thought about is that if I made a tray and I had these things on it, you know what I mean? Like this is my meal right here. Okay, so that's kind of what I thought. Also, here's the thing about lunch. The Rushmore to me is not necessarily that these things are great and that I'm dying to have them today. There's nostalgia. Like there's it brings you back comforting. It's something about that. Something was crazy about high school that they would feed us hamburgers and milk at 10:45 a.m. Like there's been no other time in your life that you've ever wanted that. But for whatever reason,
let me ask you a question. Have you guys ever had a food fight at your lunch?
Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Because that actually plays into my plate here. Okay. So, my Rosie, where we're gonna start. People lost their freaking minds every time it was chicken strip day.
Oh.
So chicken strips, and there's nothing special. I mean, it's just a chicken strip, right? Like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Also, our school, I don't know if it was the same at yours. Sometimes we would have chicken wraps, but it was just the chicken strips, and they'd give you a tortilla. Like that was it, so you could just fold it together.
So it was like the chicken wraps at McDonald's back in the day for 99 cents.
Dude, I love those, man. They need to bring them back. But you would get ranch and like cheddar cheese and then chicken strips, and you would roll that sucker up. Oh, so good.
Dude,
so good.
That's slapping.
So I love that one. So that's my number 4 there. I gotta have something to wash it down, so I'm gonna crush more with you. Give me that plastic pouch, not the paper carton, because it's different. The pouch that you had to stab, and you thought like if you stabbed it too hard, it went all the way through, and then it was ruined. You couldn't drink any of it, right? But here's one funny thing that we did with it. To your point of food fights, they were perfect because you could tuck one corner in and stick like a carrot or a pea or something in there, and you'd hit that sucker and it'd go pew, and it'd shoot across, and we would hit people all the time. But it's like not enough of a food fight where they would know it was you, but they'd be like, what the heck is this? And then you just be like,
Right.
whatever. But always chocolate milk. Don't give me the white milk. What kind of weirdo was like, I just want calcium milk? No, give me chocolate.
I've always thought it was weird to drink milk with anything other than breakfast.
Right.
And they always gave us milk. And that was just weird.
Yeah. Okay. So after that, give me a sweet treat. I want a sweet treat with mine. I'm not going Jell-O. I'm going to go with that classic sheet cake.
Ooh.
And I'm talking yellow cake, nothing special, with chocolate icing or brown ice. It wasn't even who knows what it was. And you got your little square. And it was basically like when they would serve cornbread, it was the same thing without icing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they did there, but sheet cake, it hits. In fact, we went to the men's retreat this past year, and we went to a restaurant in Lafayette, and they gave you sheet cake with your meal. And it was just like high school. And I was like, this is so bad.
Was it like a Piccadilly? Where were you at?
It was some kind of.
You had a cafeteria?
Yeah, it was basically. Well, you get to choose. It was like you got to pick your meats and your sides, and then they just gave us this. Anyway, whatever. And then number 1, I think that many people are going to agree that one of the best parts about high school is that square pizza. I got to go square pizza. I went a little bit more broad, but that square slice, whatever, of pizza. It hits, man. I don't know what's different about it that makes it different than any other pizza. It is by far not the best pizza I've ever had. It's probably one of the worst pizzas I've ever had. But again, it's about nostalgia. It's about comfort. It's about what you remember.
And I'm going to be honest, that's why I love Totino's pizza. It's about the closest you can get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it comes in a rectangle, and it's just so beautiful. And
but even have the cheese and the little square pepperonis.
Those are good because they stay crispy, and they're so good. Anyway, that's my plate. That's my plate. You're gonna have right there. So you got chicken strips. You got to have some milk. Give me the sheet cake, and then also give me some pizza. That is a fantastic lunch.
That's a fantastic meal. I'm hungry.
Well-rounded. We hit a lot of the food pyramid, which is another thing. Did anybody ever look at the posters that were hung up in the cafeteria to learn about a perfect portion of wheat products?
Oh, like the wheat bread. That's what McKenna was talking about. Everything was wheat bread. Wheat bread.
That changed like after my childhood. Like anyway. So Joe, bring us to the cafeteria.
Wait, time out. Let the Rushmore show. You were a teacher, Andy.
I was.
Now when you were a teacher, did you get to enjoy some of these foods afterwards?
Okay, funny thing. As a kid, I always was like, the teachers have their own line for food. They get everything. And then as a teacher, I was like, this sucks. Like, this is not what I thought it was as a kid. It's literally like salad. Is all it is, and it's nothing different about it. It was nothing. It was like
so. Did you were one of the cool kids when you were a teacher? You brought your own lunch.
Oh yeah, I brought my own lunch every time. Yeah, 100%. The other thing about lunch too, as a teacher on the other end, there is not a more disgusting moment in the day than watching kids eat lunch. They are ravenous animals. There's ranch all over their face. They've got cheese hanging out of their mouth.
Wait!
What
you've got to give them context. You taught middle school. You were talking sixth graders. Sixth graders,
and sixth graders would want to like get in fights and act all bad and have girlfriends and stuff like that. But I'm like, bro, you have ranch on your face right now. You can't be hard. Anyway,
and you can't hit on that girl with that ketchup all going down. Yeah,
you didn't finish your snack pack. You can't. Come on. Anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, as a teacher, it's definitely different. So, but Joe, let's go to your lunch.
Yes.
What is your perfect lunch? What's your top 4?
I know I'm going to go, this is going to be quick, but one of my fondest memories, and this was mainly in middle school and also high school, was we have a lot of Rushmores here. We really do. Well, for one, I am going to start off with that chocolate milk, for one. I mean, for me, though, I don't mind the actual paper carton. Like, I loved it.
You got to do origami to open it. It's so crazy. But yeah.
Did you always open the wrong side? And it wouldn't open right?
Me,
and then you had to open the other one, and then you had a big square opening?
It didn't matter to me. It was easy. All I saw was chocolate waiting to be had. Anyway, so one of the best memories is when I was able to get somebody else's chocolate milk, to the suckers who didn't want it. So that was awesome. And then number 3 is the chocolate chip cookies that they would serve at lunch. Now, these chocolate chip cookies were kind of big, so that was just always awesome. And one of my other fondest memories, this is how fat I was, right? I used to open that whole carton like a big square, and I used to dip the chocolate chip cookie in the chocolate milk.
Let's go.
So double chocolatey goodness, and I was always in heaven. The best day is when I can get more than one chocolate chip cookie for the kids who couldn't eat anything, and I could enjoy them. Yes. So those that's my 2. I guess number 2 would be probably the hot dogs. The hot dogs were pretty good when they did sell them to us. I realized kind of young that I liked ranch on my hot dogs. I know. That might be a crime.
You're coming in hot. Let's have food crime.
Not only are you putting hot dogs on your Rushmore, you're putting ranch hot dogs on your Rushmore.
I did, but it was a certain type of ranch, though. Like, whatever ranch they were using were good. Not all ranch is created equal. It was more like the ranch that they put on, like, hot wings. That was the type of ranch that I put.
So this is a hot take. This is a hot take. Not every ranch is equal. I agree.
But I realized that certain ranch is good on certain hot dogs. That and barbecue sauce. Anyway, so I will put barbecue sauce on my hot dogs as well.
You can't just sweep that under the rug. That's a bold statement you're making.
I did, bro. I loved barbecue sauce on my hot dog. It was just another condiment that was.
Wait, time out.
But
you put Wait. Do you put ranch and barbecue at the same
time? No.
He's not a monster, Kirk.
No, that's it. Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not insane. Not yet, at least. But yeah, no, I would put them on separately. So yeah, that was that.
I can see this. It's meat. Like any meat with barbecue sauce, I'll dip it in ranch. I bet it's okay. It's just not common.
It's not really too bad. I thought barbecue sauce is a little tastier than ketchup on a hot dog. That's just me.
There's some people out there that say no mayonnaise on a hot dog, and that is definitely not me.
What's mayo on a hot dog?
I put
no mayonnaise on a hot dog, 100%. Never put it on there. It
mayonnaise,
is
mustard, and ketchup together.
Against mayonnaise on a hot dog? I don't know. I haven't really tried it, but I've never. Yeah, I don't think that sounds too appetizing. I'm not really a mayonnaise person, though, so that makes sense. But yeah.
What's your George?
My George actually is this Chinese food that used to be in our in our cafeteria. It was more like ramen noodles. But they had like bits of chicken and pork in there. So I would say that was probably my George. That was like the one meal that I'm like, wow, I really feel like I'm a king eating this now. It's like I've upgraded from.
Dude, I remember my high school's Chinese food being horrendous. It would never make it. It had been baking under that lamp for since this morning.
Oh, yeah. No.
Disgusting.
Ours was pretty legit. So
wait, one of the things that I mentioned was we had 3 separate lines. You had a hot lunch line, a pizza line and a salad line. Nobody ever got in the salad line. 90% of the people got in the pizza line, right?
Yeah.
And then the only time most of the kids got out of the pizza line to go to the hot line is if it was chicken tender or chicken nugget.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And look, don't sleep on this. They would give those rolls with those chicken tenders and that barbecue sauce and all that, and put that thing on that roll and make some chicken sliders. What?
Yeah.
Don't sleep on that.
Pretty good. Can't sleep on that. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, look, man. Lunch Lady Land has arrived. The good old Lunch Lady Land. Hey, this has been a great flashback to the past, Andy. Talking about school movies. I'm thinking about how embarrassed I am with these amazing pictures behind me. Not really, or I wouldn't have put them up there. I mean, that's who I used to be. But, you know, all of us have come from one place and gone to another, and I can't help but think nostalgia is my favorite thing to think about, because not that we could go back and visit those times, but it's the age-old question, what I would do to go back to know what I know now, right? And so you just think about all those fun times with your friends or people that social media is great for this. Go and look, like we were kind of going through our yearbooks earlier, and I'm kind of flipping through, and I'm like, this guy was the coolest guy in school, and I see his social media. It's hilarious. It's like he's like in and out of prison or whatever. He's been divorced 7 times. You know, you always get these like opinions and these things that you're thinking about people. And I'm sure people had opinions about me, and that's cool. But school, we're thinking a lot about school days, man. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's good. It's fun to look back and the feeling of nostalgia, but there is 0% of me that wants to go back to high school. Really? 0%.
Way to be honest.
But, you know, hey, look, I met my wife in high school. Well, for the second time. That's a long story for another time. But yeah, high school sweetheart. So, you know, there's definitely good that came out of that. Some of our friends that have come here on the Rushmore Show, I went to high school with. So Paul and Dennis that have joined us before.
Our friends from last week are actually still in high school.
Well, one of them is. But yeah, but anyway, this was a blast today, Joe. I'm so glad. Thank you for being on today. Also, hey, Rushmore community, again, like we said in the description, we've got his YouTube link for his ministry there, his YouTube
Joseph
channel.
Sadar Ministry.
Go check it out. Give it a like and subscribe. I know. Also,
J&R Talk is another YouTube that he's kind of working on with a friend of ours from the school, Randy.
Love that man.
Yeah, they kind of doing. He has actually a side project. So man, actually, for everybody out there, Joe was the first kind of official YouTuber I actually knew that was actually doing it for an extensive amount of time, and he actually encouraged us to actually get started. So now I've got some other YouTubes on the plan. It's coming up, Joe. I just appreciate everything, you coming on board, hanging out with us for a few minutes and kind of sharing your love. We're going to have you on again. We got football coming up. We got football coming up in September. We got television shows coming up in November, and we're going to end the year. It's almost a full year, Andy. I mean, I feel like we just celebrated 6 months, which we did, but
you did.
We are almost. I mean, it's just around the corner. We're going to finish up the year, obviously, Christmas, into the year, and just kind of having a lot of fun. A couple things. If you want to be on the Rushmore Show, you're invited. You're going to be all a part. We got another YouTuber coming on next week, but we would love to have you on our show. You can just message us in the comments. It's the easiest way. We don't ever check the email. So if you're sending us emails, just message us in the comments. That'd be perfect. Make sure everybody's liking. Guys, I've been paying attention to what we've been doing. We've been on fire, Andy. It's been so good. Yeah. But we have almost 70% of our viewership, 70% of the people that watch us that aren't subscribers. So guys, if you're watching and you love this and you keep coming back to be a part, just hit the little sub button. It's be perfect. It will help us out. You hit the bell, you get to see us all the time. And we'd love to have you on the show. So Andy, you got any other closing remarks?
Yeah, this was a blast today. This was a blast. We have fantasy football that's happening soon too.
Two teams left trying to get in there. We got 2 more teams available.
2 spots left for that. It is going to be a fun time. We just want to be able to kind of do life with you. Obviously, we love putting together these episodes and you getting to kind of hear our Rushmore, but we're looking for other ways that we can kind of reach out to the community, doing some live things, doing, this kind of stuff.
And I'm going to tell you, look, it's on the horizon. I have applied to be a U.S. missionary and to go out and reach the streets of Atlanta and other cities. And I would love to use our what we're doing here online, not just but this one, but some of the other ideas that I have to kind of reach the lost, help Andy and his youth group. We'll probably have Journey students on again. Last week was amazing. We just hit 100 views at the time of this viewing. Matter of fact, at the time of this taping, it is actually for real Andy's birthday, and we celebrated that last week. Woo! So if you haven't already told him happy birthday, make sure you go and tell that dude happy birthday. He's celebrating it with us, putting on a show.
Yeah, there's 20 minutes left of my birthday right now, so that's where we're at.
That tells you what time we filmed this.
On your time, it's not my birthday anymore. But anyway, we're time traveling right now, just like Back to the Future. So love you guys. Thank you guys for being a part of this Rushmore community. And you know what? We're going to end this like we always end it by saying this. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your
top 4
and nothing more.
Peace.